Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is me, Brian Garside, and I am here to talk to you on today, Thursday, June 30th, 2022. And this is a special pre-recorded thought stream where we're going to talk about check-ins. We're going to demonstrate a new video that will be part of our help documentation. And also we're going to talk about a couple of things that we've been working on. And you know what? Let's just dive right into it. So pardon me, I'm just getting over a bit of a cold. We are going to jump into this page. So this is our roadmap. Folks have been adding some things, and I'll definitely talk about some of these things at length. This one, Manage Comics Binder POS Transfers, we actually kind of have something for this. We are working on something slightly bigger with BinderPause themselves, which will come along after our Shopify fixes. But we have kind of a really cool way that you can do this with BinderPause now. So I think I'll do a separate video on that. And I might do just kind of a video on how we support BinderPause and some of those things. But thank you, James, for the suggestion. Right now, what we're working on is short videos that share with my customers. And I'm also working on kind of not customer facing, but store facing videos for your employees to help you describe them. And that's kind of what today is about. Today is about check-ins, a single product and the entire suite. So we're going to show that video here, and then I will show you later where you will find that video kind of going forward. Another really, really exciting thing, Taras has been working hard on a bunch of GeekFetch improvements. This is our GeekFetch QA environment. And one of the things you'll see here is series titles. So we're going to go away from title name, issue number as kind of our de facto way we show things in the back end. And we're going to start going with like title name and then year that the title came out. Just when you get into the title, we'll be able to show issues and things like that. But this is going to give us a lot more flexibility. So we're going to have to go through and do a little bit of data cleanup because our data only goes back to like 2009, I think. So a good example would be, and I've already fixed the first one, but this used to say Batman 2009. So I've updated it to be, this is the original Batman title. Which would have had a launch date of, actually, I think it's 1940. So this is super easy. I can actually go in here and edit this, change it to 1940. This is a min tool that only myself, Ivan, Craig, and Taras have access to, but it gives us a lot of abilities to kind of go in and fix, titles that we don't like, the years the titles came out, all that good stuff. And then for things where we have two titles in a year, Ms. Marvel, I think was, or maybe it was Captain Marvel, is one where I think in 2020, there were two individual series. We'll just call them like 2020, maybe August 2020, and the other one Jan 2020 or something like that. But yeah, we'll figure that out on a case-by-case basis. There's not a whole ton of those that we have to worry about. So yeah, that's been what has been keeping us busy this week. But let's chat instead about check-ins. So check-ins are an integral part of Managed Comics. Is kind of what Managed Comics was built around. On one hand, you have the customer-facing side where your customers are subscribing to things. On the other hand, we have the check-in process, which is getting things onto Shopify. The whole reason we built this system is so that we would have the ability to get things into Shopify, enable hybrid retail, help you keep open should another pandemic-like situation ever happen, which of course we all pray won't happen. But in the meantime, why don't we just go ahead and show this video? And I think this is going to do it. How to check in a single issue or a midweek shipment. First, click on Manage Comics 2 subscriptions. Then click on Check In and find additional items. From here, you can enter the publisher code, the ISBN, the UPC, or the title. In this case, I'm going to check in with my scanner a specific issue. This is a copy of Do a Powerbomb, and I have 8 copies available. I'll add those to the pull. I can continue going on and adding more items, or I can just close this and complete this pull. Next, I will confirm that these are selected to be pulled for the subscribers. Then I'll add any extra tags I want to add. Special pull 2022 06 28. So this gives me a tag in the product itself. Finally, I'll confirm the pull, and then I'll get an immediate notification of what has been pulled for whom, so I can put these aside for these individual people. Now, almost immediately, since I'm only doing one product, the products will actually be created. So if I sort by updated newest first, or created newest first is probably the right way to do it, I'll see that there's both been a regular and a subscription product created. The subscription product is created so that those issues are reserved for those individual people and nobody else can order them. Plus, it maintains the price of them at the price that they were originally solicited at, and not at a modified price, which you may make afterwards on your website. So that's how to check in one single item. Up next, we'll talk about how to do your full pulls. Doing the full pulls process requires your invoices. The first thing you'll want to do is get your Diamond, Lunar, and Penguin Random House invoices. On the Diamond site, go to My Account, Invoices, and then click on the CSV formatted invoice for each invoice that you want to perform your pulls with. On the Lunar site, you'll go to Account, Invoices, and then in the particular invoice that you're looking for, you'll choose the Comic Hub Invoice CSV formatted file. From Penguin Random House, go to Orders, click on the individual order item. In the Download Invoice dropdown, select Download CSV. Now let's get started and do a full weekly pull. So I'm going to click on Manage Comics 2 subscriptions. I'll click on Check In, and I'm going to start over. So this will start the entire process. First thing I'll do is I'll pull in a recent Lunar invoice, and so that I can do everything at once, I'm also going to pull in the current Diamond invoice. I'll click Next, and Manage Comics will go out and find all of my products and match them up. So here we have all of our titles, and right now I would actually confirm that these are the amounts that I have for each one of these titles. Avengers 57, I'm going to say that I have 22 copies. And of those, 5 of them were damaged. For Berserker, I had 25 copies, with 3 of them just shorted. And I'd go through and update every single title. And this is going to have 2 reasons. One of them is that at the end of this process, we'll create a shortages list. The other one is that it will also let us know who was shorted in terms of pulls. So if I only got, let's say, 5 copies of Action Comics, because 10 of them were damaged and 10 of them were shorted, this will come into play later. So I'm going to go ahead and say Next. And then this is telling me what I am going to be pulling this week. So I see that I only got 5 copies and I have 8, so I know I'm going to have a problem here, but everything else is looking fairly good. So I'll go ahead and say Next here. And then this is the leftover quantity that will be imported into my store after all of my subscriptions are accounted for. So this looks good to me, so I'll go ahead and say Next again. And then if there's any items that I need additional data for, I can go ahead and add that information. So I could add the ISBN or UPC, which I would just scan off the book. And then once I've got that ISBN or US UPC, I should search to make sure that that isn't already in the database. What sometimes happens is that the code that is listed, December 07, might not be in the Manage Comics database. But this book could be there under a different publisher, different distributor, or a different, some different information. So if you enter that information and we do have that product, then it will pre-fill everything. Otherwise, you just have to answer all of the information about the individual product, and then it will still create the product and do any pulls that are necessary. I'm just going to cancel out of this for now. I'm also going to add a tag of new release 2022-06-28. And I will say next on that. So this tells me that I've got 8 missing. I've got some damages here, but that all looks good to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say that I want all this to appear on the site tomorrow, and I'm going to confirm this pull. So this pull tells me that I need to pull these items for these people. And then Manage Comics will go through and create all of the products, create orders for all these products, and then kind of finalize the pulls. So right now this pull is not finalized. It's still kind of in progress, but I can use this information to complete my pull, the actual act of pulling things for customers. And then once this is done, I'd be able to click on pulls by date and select like the last few days. And right now, this will only show me the ones that have actually been completed. And it looks like most of them actually have gone through already. So this shows me, and this also will include the Duo Power Bombs that I pulled a little while ago. So that is the full pulls process. Now, pulls is part of the ordering process as well. So customer orders, which are the orders that have been created for each of the customers, these are being generated now by the system. So Duo Power Bombs on there, and I think Justice League Infinity was on the list this week. Nope, it looks like just Duo Power Bomb because that was pulled on June 28th. But as the system goes through and does all the pulls, we'll start to see more June 28th items show up on here, and then the full pull will be completed. Usually takes for a substantive store of around 100 to 200 customers, it'll take probably 10 to 15 minutes. It's approximately 3 to 4 seconds per product. So if you're importing, and then also like another second per individual subscriber. So you're looking at probably like 500 to 600 seconds, which I guess would be between like 8 minutes and 10 minutes. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time, and that's just the system going through and doing all that work for you. So that's the full pull system. So yeah, that is kind of our check-in process. So I'll just show you really quickly. We added a bunch of workflows last week. We added, I think, 12 workflows, 13 if we include our workflow page. So they're all here. So yeah, the check-in, the weekly shipment is now available on the weekly task, weekly check-in. So you'll see that video there. It's about 9 minutes long altogether. So you can definitely use that to walk your employees how to do check-ins. I'm also going to break up a couple of the pieces. We have here a new midweek shipment, no invoice file. So I'll add kind of the 1 minute piece that shows you how to just check in one single product or maybe a half dozen products. And then I believe there might be a thing here on No, that's in a whole other place. There's another place where we have, where do I get my invoices? So I'll definitely kind of break that out and put that there. Yeah, so that's gonna about do it for our I'm in the wrong screen here. That's gonna about do it for our check-in and this week's Thoughtstream. So this week, right now, as you watch this, I am currently in Michigan. I don't know if you can see that yet. So we're looking to visit 16 stores if I can. We're going down tomorrow morning. So we'll be down Wednesday, Thursday, and I think we're coming back like midway through Friday. So hopefully Wednesday, my hope is to get to Comic Book Zen, which is kind of between Detroit and Sarnia. Then Mike's Comics, Comic City, and Comics Corner, which are all kind of as you come into Detroit. And then Morse's Comic Stash, Liberty City Comics, and hopefully Vault of Midnight. So if we can get all those guys done Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to hit Comic City on Telegraph Road, which is where we're going to see Bob from Comic City. Then we'll see Comic Showcase. I've got an appointment with Michael at Time Travelers Comics around 2. We're going to see Warp 9 Comics, Comics and More, State of Comics, who's also a Managed Comics store. Hoping to get to Sanctum Sanctorum, which is right kind of down the road from State of Comics. And hopefully Big Ben's Comics Oasis will be kind of our last stop on Thursday before we loop our way back to Port Huron. And in Port Huron, we're going to go visit Future Pastimes. And there's one other shop around there I think that we'll visit as well. Oh, sorry. Future Pastimes is in Sarnia. We're going to go to Comic Book Zen in Port Huron. And then hopefully we can make it over to Future Pastimes in Sarnia. So yeah, that's our goal right now. 16 shops in just over 48 hours, probably closer to 72, I guess. Yeah, and that'll be fun. And then the following week, I am away for a personal day on Thursday, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I did a video with Dan Shaheen a couple of weeks ago, comic book news with Dan Shaheen. So what I thought I'd do is build a kind of fun watch along where I'll record myself reacting to Dan and I, and maybe I can give a little bit more insight, because I felt like there were a few places where I could have kind of dove a little bit deeper, and I went kind of surface level. So this would be a nice little, we'll call it, I don't know, Manage Comics Reacts to Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen talks Manage Comics. It'll be a total Inception thing. All right, so that's going to do it for this week, and we will see you in a couple weeks. We're going to do a review of our road trip to Michigan, and hopefully between now and then too, I'm going to try and get out to some GTA shops. So I'm really hoping to get to enter the battlefield in a few weeks' time. And yeah, that is going to do it for this week. So in the meantime and in between times, stay comicking. Thanks.
This is O'Brien from Manage Comics, from Patrick and Dale from Challengers Comics. And this is a message brought to you by Danhausen. You know Danhausen, very nice, very evil, very famous, very elite. It's pretty good. So, Dan has been sent here today to send a very nice, very thank you from Challengers Comics for helping out all the time, being a wonderful comic book shop as well, and doing good things with comics and probably toys and such. So, Dan Eisen would like to thank you too, because everywhere needs a comic book store. So, keep up the great work, or be cursed. And as a bonus, Danhausen shall send his gratitudes by cursing your enemies, as long as they're not Challenger Comics. So that way our business can thrive and crush them. Yes, anyways, good luck.